Your podcast is a powerful tool that serves your audience and your business. But how do you manage it all, bring in new listeners, and convert those listeners into customers? That's what this show is all about. Welcome to Podcasting for Educators. I'm Sarah Whitaker, classroom teacher turned podcast manager, and I'm here to help you get the most out of your show, all while making an impact on other educators. Hey there, welcome back to Podcasting for Educators. This is episode 45. I can't believe it. That means I'm super close to getting to episode 50, which is a big milestone that I'm definitely going to be celebrating. And I encourage you to celebrate these milestones with your show as well. So today I want to talk about ads. Ads are becoming more and more popular in podcasts. In the past, you may have mainly heard podcast ads from like traditional sponsors. Like, for example, if you listen to true crime podcasts, you might hear ads for Simply Safe Home Security, which goes well with a true crime podcast. Or maybe you hear like those different home delivery meal services. Those are kind of those traditional ads that usually the hosts record them in their own voice, but they are from a sponsor who is sponsoring their show. But now podcast ads are being used more and more for personal branded podcasts, which I absolutely think that you should be doing. I always encourage my clients to do it. And if you haven't tried using ads in your show, then hopefully by the end of this episode, you'll have some ideas on how you can use it. If you listen to Amy Porterfield's podcast, Online Marketing Made Easy, she had an episode come out recently. It's been several weeks now, but she shared some of the things that she's done this year that has been really successful for her podcast. And one of the things she talked about was using ads, using one type of ad specifically. And we will discuss that exact type of ad in just a minute. But because of that episode, I have been getting some questions about different ways that you can use ads in your show. So I wanted to address that here in case you have some of the same questions. Now, when I say ads, I'm talking about like a 30, 45 second recording that's in your podcast that helps to promote any kind of offer, whether it's an evergreen offer or it's a live launch offer that you put into your episodes. Again, you should absolutely be trying this out and experimenting with this because people need to hear what you're selling and what you have to offer them multiple times. I could talk about that all day. I've done several episodes on this topic of selling on your podcast. One of the kind of recent ones was in episode 30. It's called Why Selling on Your Show Doesn't Have to Be Hard. Go check out that episode if you want to hear a little bit more about that topic of how to go about selling and promoting things on your show if it might make you feel a little squeamish. Now, not all ads are created equal. So there are a few different types of ads that you can create. I'm going to go over two of the main types of podcast ads today, and you can kind of think about which one you might want to try out. Now, the first one is what we call baked in ads, and this can be done in a couple of different ways, but a baked in ad is an ad that is in the original audio file for your episode. And this could be as informal as you just talking about your offer, right? Like in conversation in the middle of your episode or at the beginning of your episode or wherever. But a more kind of formal and intentional way of doing this would be to actually sit down and record a quick ad that talks about what you're offering, why people should go check it out, and where they can find it. I think it's always nice when you have some music playing behind your ad, and then you would take that audio and you would put it into your episodes. And this might be an ad that you just use in one episode, or it might be an ad that you use for several weeks, or it might be one that is for an evergreen offer and you're using it all the time. So what makes it a baked in ad is that you are placing it into each individual episode that you want to have that ad. And then you're taking your final episode and you're putting it into your podcast host. Okay. Then another type of ad is called a dynamic ad. And the big difference here is that a dynamic ad gets added in your actual podcast host. So you would still sit down and you would record this ad, but then you would upload this ad to your host and you can have it be placed in every single one of your episodes. So maybe you've got a 5-day boot camp coming up that you're hosting and you create an ad for it. And then you use the dynamic ads function in your host if you have that available to you. And it puts that ad on all of your episodes. Why is this so beneficial? Because then anybody who is listening to previous episodes, maybe you're on episode 50, but now this ad is on all episodes from episode 1 to episode 50. So anybody who discovers your show for the first time during the time that you're running this ad, or anybody who maybe is a listener, but they're going back and listening to some past episodes, anybody who's listening to your show is going to hear your ad for as long as you're going to run that ad. And this is an automated process. So it's like the click of a button. You upload the ad and it gets automatically included in all of your current episodes. And then you can decide when you want to stop running it and it will be taken out. Amy Porterfield mentioned this on that podcast episode that I was talking about, and I think that's where a lot of questions stemmed from, because you might have wondered, gosh, do these people who run all these ads, did they go into all of their episodes and add these manually? No. I mean, maybe some people do, but that would be extremely time consuming. So that is what a dynamic ad does. Now, what was not mentioned in that episode that Amy Porterfield did is that she uses Libsyn for her podcast host. Now, you need a Libsyn Pro account in order to get access to the feature of dynamic ads. And that is going to be like around $100 a month. There are some other hosts who offer this on all of their plans, even like the $15 a month plans. And the two that I know of that definitely offer dynamic ads at a lower rate are Captivate and Buzzsprout. So if you use those hosts, definitely check out that feature of dynamic ads. And you can also check it out on Libsyn. I mean, you kind of have to weigh your possible ROI for this investment. But if you have a pretty good size audience and you run these dynamic ads, it could absolutely help with any kind of thing that you are launching. So definitely something that's worth a try and worth experimenting with. And I think it could be a really powerful strategy for your podcast. I also just want to mention that Buzzsprout just rolled out a new program. They rolled out their Buzzsprout ads. It's still in beta, and you do not have to host with Buzzsprout to use this feature. But basically you can create an ad and it's an ad for your show, okay? And you can pay Buzzsprout to run your ads on other podcasts that have a similar audience as you do. So I think this could be a game changer. I think it's really cool. I'm excited to try it out. I will put a link to the page where you can sign up to try this in the description and in the show notes for this episode. And you can find the show notes at podcastingforeducators.com/episode 45. And from what I've read about it, you can kind of set your own budget for how much you want to spend. And that translates into a certain amount of downloads that they'll run your ad for. So definitely check it out. It looks like a really cool service. And I'm excited to hear about people's results with it. Now, if you are a student in the Podcasting for Educators Prep School, there's a whole lesson that I have in the course on creating ads and different types of ads you can create and the best places to put those ads in your episodes and all of that. Doors to the prep school will be opening again in a few weeks. So if you missed it last time it was open, stay tuned. And if you have any follow-up questions after listening to this episode, you can always send me a message on Instagram at Podcasting for Educators. I will see you in the next episode. Thanks so much for listening to today's episode. To keep this conversation going, connect with me on Instagram at Podcasting for Educators. I'm always looking for an excuse to talk about podcasting. If you're looking for support in launching, managing, or growing your podcast, check out my online course, the Podcasting for Educators Prep School, at podcastingforeducators.com/prep school. I'll see you here next time.